From the land of conjurers, flying through the internet to your device like a UAP, hauntingly unexplained and downright weird. This is the Witching Hours, and we are ready to take off in the flash of an eye. Good evening to one and all, wherever and whenever you are listening to this program. I am Giant of the Frost, and joining me, as always, is Medium Jenny Lee. How are you doing, Medium Jenny Lee?
Wonderful. Excellent. How are you doing, Giant of the Frost?
It's been a hot day.
Yes, it's like 100 degrees today. Disgusting.
It is, yeah, it was 100 degrees, and we decided to go out gallivanting around the city.
It was fun, though.
And we have 2 more days coming up, I think, that are all supposed to be... We have a few days stretch here of 100-degree weather, which isn't uncommon for...
Yeah.
The summertime, but it's still
doesn't make it any less disgusting.
Regardless, here we are. So we have a good show for you this evening if you're joining us live, or if you're listening to us later via broadcast on podcast or on YouTube. We are going to do some experimentation with remote viewing, and not just any old remote viewing, like that's a boring topic or anything. But we are going to look at trying to remote view through time.
Gotta go back in time.
So be ready for that. I do have a guest star open up for our wild card line tonight that I'll open up later. If anyone wants to share any experience, someone that happens to have a really good, crazy experience and they want to be able to say it in words
instead of having to type.
Yeah, we'll have that open for you. And if you're listening to us at another time, whether in the past or the future, feel free to go.
Past.
Yeah. Feel free to go on to the YouTube site. It's the Witching Hours podcast on YouTube, and you can leave a comment on this episode and let us know what you saw. And we can see what everyone gets from our experimentation tonight. But we have
there will be time for everybody to be able to experience and practice if they wish.
Yeah.
Whether you're watching live or in the future.
Yes. Speaking of time travel, I have released 1 episode of the Witching Hour stories, and I plan to do them more frequently. And I have one just about ready to go. The script is written.
Guess what? Time travel. Subscribe.
On time travel. Thank you for the subscription, Foombi. So we have the second episode of the Witching Hour stories coming out. I hope to get them out in more frequency. I have a lot of ideas of subjects to delve into, and there is going to be one coming up soon, and I will go ahead and say it is going to be on Project Pegasus, which was a U.S. government time travel program, or at least supposedly a U.S. government time travel program. That will be for you to decide. And, the basic idea I've had with doing these Witching Hours stories is to just kind of go around and collect things that have kind of been talked about previously in the weird and paranormal conversations over the last decades, and give someone somewhere to go to kind of get a brief, hey, like, what is this about? And the first one was Bob Lazar. And a lot of people know who Bob Lazar is, but if you don't know who Bob Lazar is, so, at one point in time, I didn't know who Bob Lazar was. It's a good place to go to be like, okay, so here's Bob Lazar, it's who he was, this is what he claims, and this is what people have said, and kind of get a rundown on what's going on there. So we have a second one coming out. That should be up by the end of the week, and that'll be wherever you are listening to us now on your favorite podcast platform or YouTube.
The end of next week?
Yeah,
or
yeah,
like
yeah. Probably, definitely,
this
yeah.
weekend.
Probably by the end of next week. I plan on recording it this weekend, so it'll be up next week sometime.
So probably the first week of August,
Yeah,
expect.
first week of August. It's ready to
Hello,
record.
hoaxsters.
Welcome in, hoaxsters. I hope you have your remote viewing hat on tonight. Is a remote viewing hat like a tinfoil hat, or
No, because you're
Okay.
trying to get the energies flowing. So we're not trying to, hinder them. So no, hoaxsters, take off your tinfoil hat.
Take off the tinfoil hat. Yeah, adjust your chat and take off your hat. Okay, so it's probably time to get into the news.
So much news.
We have a lot of news, and we'll get into the beefiest part of that towards the end. The first story I have today is a massive relic galaxy without dark matter puzzles astronomers. The galaxy
I saw a little thumbnail for that, but I didn't read it.
The galaxy is called NGC 1277 and it's located.
Can they just give it a real name, for crying out loud? Does it have to be a number and a letter thing?
Well, I think it works for one reason, because they're viewing billions of galaxies now, and I don't know if we have a billion names. So
I need to be put on the name committee. I will name them. Just let me do it. This is ridiculous.
It's like hurricanes.
Who the hell's going to remember? Who's going to remember NG 715.276W? Nobody.
Well, I think when it comes to that naming, like if we were, if it were to become significant for some reason, it would get a common name. But this is for a scientific categorization. So there's got to be, just like we don't go around calling animals by their scientific names, right?
Exactly. So
but they still have a scientific name.
The galaxies NG1756W.2.
Well, that's what scientists are calling it, so they know how to locate it.
Exactly, because they have no imagination. Sorry, science people.
Jeez.
That one's going to be called Cotton Candy Galaxy. Anyway, continue.
It's located 240 million light years away. It is a massive elliptical galaxy, and a galaxy of its size should have between 10 and 70% of its mass as dark matter. Its stellar mass is about 150 billion times the mass of the sun, and that's not a small galaxy. However, that is not what observations seem to indicate. Within the radius they observe, astronomers estimate that the galaxy cannot have more than 5% of its mass as dark matter and might as well have none. This doesn't make sense, especially since it is a relic galaxy, a galaxy that has not changed much over the last 12 billion years, with a B. This result,
and they know all of this because of math, right?
Well, they're looking at the star. Well, the galaxy itself is 240 million light years away.
So they're not like looking at it, really.
So they're looking back 240 million.
They're getting
they are. Well,
information that they're mathematically using to figure this out.
It doesn't specifically say this, but they are using the James Webb Telescope now, which can look back
which
really
can
far.
Look that far. All right.
I don't know if that's what they're viewing it within this story, but we have talked about previous news stories where they are looking back almost to the point of the Big Bang now with telescopes. So it is possible, although I don't have that information if that's what they're using for this, but they're looking 240 million years into the past.
Yeah.
At a galaxy that they're supposing...
Gotta go back in time.
That a galaxy itself that's 12 billion years old. Now, imagine from relic galaxy they're talking about, this is probably one of the first galaxies that was formed if you go to the supposed age of our universe. So this result does not fit within the current accepted cosmological models, which include dark matter. Lead author Sebastian Cameron from the Institute, it's Spanish here, I think, Instituto de Astrofísica de Canarias. So, and the University of Laguna, the importance of relic galaxies in helping us understand how the first galaxies formed was the reason we decided to observe NGC 1277 with an integral field spectrograph. From the spectra, we made kinetic maps, which enabled us to work out the distribution of mass within the galaxy out to a radius of some 20,000 light years. The lack of dark matter within this distance from the center of the galaxy doesn't make sense. The scientists have put forward two possible explanations, but neither of them is satisfactory to completely explain what the team is seeing. One is that the gravitational interaction with the surrounding medium within the galaxy cluster in which the galaxy is situated has stripped out the dark matter. The other is that the dark matter was driven out of the system when the galaxy formed by the merging of proto-galactic fragments, which gave rise to the relic galaxy. The lack of dark matter certainly is a problem from the standard model of cosmology and its expectations, but it is even a bigger problem for the alternative theories that get rid of the need for dark matter by changing how gravity behaves instead. Although the dark matter in a specific galaxy can be lost, the modified law of gravity must be universal. It cannot have exceptions, so that a galaxy without dark matter is a refutation of this type of alternatives to dark matter. Co-author Ignacio Trujillo, also from the IAC and ULL explains. So in other words,
that one hurt my brain.
There is no scientific proof of dark matter.
Okay.
And it's the only way they've been able to get the models for how this stuff works to work out mathematically. So they think that it's there. But now they're seeing that in some galaxies, it is not there. And they don't know how those two things, because you have to have a unified theory.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. So there's no proof that dark matter exists.
No.
But they're really confused that it's not there. How do they know if it's not there if they don't know that it exists? What is this math?
Let me ask you a question. When you were in school, did you ever do algebra? And you did, x plus 3 equals 5?
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what x is, but you know that it has to be something to equal 5. So the answer's got to be 2. And that's what they're doing with the mass of galaxies. What's in the galaxy doesn't equal the mass that the galaxy is. And so there has to be some material there that they're not, and that's what they call dark matter.
Okay. So this galaxy
doesn't have it.
Like its mass is like its mass?
Yes. And so now that would break up. In other words, this is creating a conundrum, just like it typically does in science, especially this field of science where they're constantly on the cutting edge of trying to deal with what they don't know. And so I think this could be a situation where they're going to have to rethink how all this stuff works.
So just to recap, galaxies have a mass and they calculate all the stuff in it, but it's not that number. So they're assuming something else is the rest of that number. But this galaxy, its number is its number. There's no extra stuff.
Yeah, well, I think they
actually
said they think that there's like a 5% window there where they think there could
small.
be whereas before I think it said in this article, I might be making it up, but I wanted to say it was close to like 50%.
Okay.
Oh no, here we go. A galaxy of its size should be between 10 and 70% of its mass should come from dark matter.
How much? Say it again.
10 to 70%.
10 to 70. Wow.
And it's only 5 or less.
Hoaxer says, I don't know how we can calculate our universe mass and stuff. I don't either. We're leaving that up to somebody else, hoaxers. Blue
People
said,
a lot smarter than myself.
It has to do with mass and less to do with mass and more to do with gravity. The gravity is stronger than the seeming amount of mass that exists. Hence, they posit the existence of dark matter. That's from Lars. Thank you, Lars. $10 on what Lars said because it sounds good.
Yeah,
Lars
like
says
I'm not.
It's like intelligence and politics. Intelligence and politics. They can't prove it.
Yeah, I mean it's outside of my. But it's important. There was a reason it's in the news is because it's something that could change.
So here's
how we think our universe is made, what it's made up of.
Here's a theory for you. Ready for my theory? So in the Raw book and in Mark Hunter Brooks' Earth's Hidden Reality book, which I just did a review for on YouTube today, by the way.
Oh, cool.
I'm pretty sure he also mentions it in his book that there's spiritual mass, that the spiritual things that scientists aren't even willing to admit exist in the first place, has a mass also. So what if part of that missing mass is spiritual mass? And if this galaxy is so old, what if there's not a whole lot of living things left in it? And therefore there is very little spiritual mass.
Yeah, well, and in that case, I guess you would just say that that's what dark matter is. But they don't really, they don't know what it is. That's why they call it dark matter.
It's like a dead universe.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's nothing left in it.
And they can't see it. They can't measure it. So they just call it dark matter.
Because they don't know what it is.
They have no clue what it is.
Because they're in the dark about it.
Yeah, they're dad joke. But it's they're trying to look out, and I give them credit. They're looking out into the stars and they're trying to figure out using the scientific method, what this universe is. And I think, especially on this show, that's a lot of what we're doing.
Lars, I think Frosty, wasn't that one of the stories we had recently that Lars was talking about where they actually recorded gravity waves? Did you have that as one of our recent
gravity
stories?
Waves.
Yeah.
When that broke, we did have that on the news section. That was another huge scientific, one of the things they had theorized existed, but they couldn't prove it. And then finally they did. There are gravitational waves. They've never been able to measure them. And then they were.
Yeah. And then Luce is talking about the whole starseed theory too, that supposedly there's plenty of souls on Earth that actually have been on other planets as well. So what if, if she's a Palladian, if her soul was from some galaxy, from some planet in the Palladian star system, and they're not there anymore, then there's reincarnating here, then there wouldn't be spiritual mass left in that system.
Well, there you go. That could be a good scientific experiment for that. If you find that these really, really, really old galaxies are all missing dark matter because they're these dead galaxies.
We'll have to wait and see as they find more of them, if that's a pattern.
Yes, and that is correct, Lars. Yeah. Math usually lays the groundwork for theories that we can add credence to later. This is what the math is telling us, and now we got to find a way to prove that what we're saying through math actually exists. I think that's absolutely correct. Second article for tonight is physicists just figured out how wormholes could enable time travel.
Ooh, speaking of time travel.
Shortcuts through space-time, known as wormholes, aren't recognized features of the cosmos, but for the better part of a century, scientists have wondered if the weft and warp instructed by relativity prescribe ways for quantum ripples or even entire particles to break free of their locality. At their most fantastic, such
Hold on a second.
Yes.
Hold on 1 second. Did you say the warp and weft of the gravity?
Yes.
That's weaving.
Yeah.
Warp and weft are weaving terms.
Mm-hmm.
So the gravitational way, the way that gravity works is with warp and weft, like a weaving.
I haven't read the article yet.
It doesn't say that. Because, okay, hold on a second. So, all right. There's a lot.
She's on a roll tonight, folks.
Yes, I know specifically.
Email it to her.
I know specifically that the Maya culture has a creation story of how things were created, and it has to do with weaving.
Yes,
and it's like that in a lot of Central and South American cultures. Like their creation story is weaving.
Yes.
And if gravity works like that it's woven together, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah. But this is talking about relativity and quantum ripples. At their most fantastic, such reconfigurations in the fabric of the universe, there you
go,
would allow human-sized masses to traverse light years, to cross galaxies in a heartbeat, or perhaps move through time as quickly as one might through their kitchen. At the very least, exercises that probe the more exotic side of space-time behavior could guide speculation over the mysterious meeting point of quantum physics and the general theory of relativity. Wormholes are in effect little more than shapes. We're used to dealing with single-dimensional lines, two-dimensional drawings, and three-dimensional objects in everyday life. Some we can intuitively fold, mold, and poke holes in. Physics allows us to explore the changes in situations we can't intuitively explore on the smallest levels. Quantum effects give distances and time some wiggle room. So Frolov, Kurthaus, and Zelenkov's time warp proposal involves what's known as ring wormhole. First described in
ringworms.
Yes.
We don't like
ringworms.
those.
First described in 2016 by the University of Cambridge theoretical physicist Gary Gibbons and University of Tours physicist.
There you go. Hold on. We're going back full circle here. That's why scientists can't name anything, because they just named a damn wormhole ring wormhole. They could have come up with a better name. So never mind. I'm retracting my statement. Scientists are not allowed to name the galaxies. Continue.
Theoretical physicist Gary Gibbons and University of Tours physicist Mikhail Volkov, distinct from spherical. Well, that's another thing too. You're talking about a global community of scientists. So what good is it going to do you if they give it a name and it's in Mongolian? Like, you won't be able to pronounce it anyway.
I'm not saying it needs to be in a different language. I'm saying they know what ringworm is. So why didn't they come up with a word that was similar to ring, but was different, that meant like it's a circle? Anyway, continue. So they're saying that there's circular wormholes.
Mikhail Volkov, distinct from spherical contortions of space-time we might attribute to black holes, the ring wormhole proposed by Gibbons and Volkov connects patches of the universe, or different universes for that matter, that are what we call flat. Considering interactions of electrical and magnetic fields called duality rotations and applying some choice transformations, ringed shaped masses could create some interesting distortions in what could otherwise be flat space-time, and voila, a hole in the universe that connects you to, well, somewhere you want to go nearby, or that's not nearby. So wormholes that make a ring shaped as opposed to being flat could basically create a system where you're folding up space-time to be able to travel.
Which they've had that part figured out for a long time.
Mm-hmm. But once again,
if you folded space and time, that you could go from one place to another. But they just didn't know how to do it.
Yeah, and now they're seeing mathematical calculations for how a wormhole could be formed that would allow for that to actually happen.
Yeah, they could just call it a ring hole. I was thinking while he was reading the rest of it, what other things are like a ring? And then I thought a donut. That could be a donut hole, which sounds way better and delicious. But donut holes don't actually have a hole in it, because that's the part that you eat that came out of the hole of the donut. So that doesn't make any sense.
I was actually reading a story the other day about how scientists are saying that there could be planets that could be donut shaped. They would have to be created though, but they could actually sustain that shape. And in the movie, the thing that I was watching, it actually showed the moon actually circling and going through the donut hole.
Mm.
It would have to be like an advanced. It would have to be like an advanced species that had, where it's like basically like custom making planets and stuff.
Well, we're not.
Anyway,
we're not there.
definitely not.
We can make donuts though, and that's a feat all in itself.
Number 3, Beetlejuice 2, a filming set in Vermont, is haunted by souvenir seekers. Souvenir hunters are haunting the Beetlejuice 2 movie set in Vermont. State police are investigating 2 thefts, one of the large lamppost, topped with a distinctive pumpkin decoration, and the other of a 150-pound abstract art piece taken from the vicinity of a cemetery. Someone bundled up the lamppost, covered it with a tarp, and fled at a high rate of speed in a pickup truck on July 14th, while the theft near the cemetery took place several days later. State police said Thursday the sequel to the 1988 film is filming in East Corinth near the New Hampshire border. The original Tim Burton horror comedy about a home haunted by ghosts, played by Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin and starring Winona Ryder, also was filmed in East Corinth. For the new movie, Michael Keaton is reprising his role as bio-exorcist Beetlejuice. The sequel also features Wednesday star Jenna Ortega and others. The movie is due to be released next year.
I wonder if Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin are going to be in it.
I don't know, and if they were, I don't know if they would say it yet, because it would probably be like you want some surprises, right?
Yeah.
But
and
I would
is Alec Baldwin
something.
allowed to work again after he accidentally supposedly accidentally killed people?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either.
Not sure. It's a good question though.
People stealing props off the Beetlejuice 2 set.
Yeah,
prop makers,
I mean, it's a lot of money.
Those prop
right?
makers are going to be pissed.
Yeah.
You know how much time it took them to make those props? You're just stealing it.
Yeah. Scientists dispute Professor Avi Loeb's claim he found alien technology. So we talked about this particular Harvard professor before, who famously suggested the Oumuamua interstellar object observed in 2017 was an alien spacecraft rather than a cigar-shaped space rock. We talked about that on this program because he believed it was likely an interstellar object. This is down to 2 principal reasons. Firstly, IM-1 crashed into the Pacific at an incredible speed. And secondly, Loeb and his team have performed an initial analysis of the space rock, showing it was tougher than all other 272 meteors in NASA's Center for Near-Earth Object Studies catalog. So he has a theory that a lot of these asteroids went into the ocean. He goes down to the bottom. He collects them with a magnet. He found these objects, these tiny metal objects that are called spherules, and he's saying that he thinks they are alien technology.
So he usually collects meteors and stuff that fall.
Yeah, well, that's something he started doing, but yeah, he's been in that field, and he's a Harvard professor, and he studies.
But he collected some stuff recently that
asteroids,
is not rocks.
Well, that's what he says. Last month, Loeb's team dragged a magnetic sled beneath their expedition boat to collect metal from the ocean floor. They collected numerous tiny spherical objects called spherules. Initial analysis showed the tiny balls were composed of an unusual combination of iron, magnesium, and titanium. Yeah, there's the Virginia accent there.
There's a lot of iron in them space balls.
Last month, controversial theoretical physicist Avi Loeb made the headlines yet again when he claimed tiny spherules recovered from the bottom of the Pacific Ocean were likely alien in origin. In an interview with the New York Times, he stated that they are most likely a technological gadget with artificial intelligence. Now, several scientists have challenged Loeb's assertions, with some accusing him of being unscientific. A Harvard professor's hunt for alien technology. It was a $1.5 million expedition off the coast of Papua New Guinea.
Now they're going to take all his money away because he said it seemed like it was not from here.
So, looking at what other scientists are saying.
They're sitting around, calling things ringworms. So
They're saying he has a real breakdown of the peer review process and the scientific method, and it's demoralizing for other scientists. Peter Brown, a meteor physicist at Western University in Ontario, concurred, suggesting that Loeb shouldn't make such bold proclamations during the early analysis phase. It's not uncommon for detected events to appear interstellar at first, only to be chalked up to a measurement error. Introspective of Loeb's early assertions. In the ongoing debate, the Harvard professor has sent spheral samples to Harvard University, the University of California, Berkeley, and the Bruker Corporation in Germany for more in-depth analysis. Ultimately, much like those arguing against his claims, Loeb will hope it's the science that does the real talking.
Hopefully, he kept some of them for himself and he didn't send them all away, because whenever people send things away, they always get lost and nobody ever sees them again.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then finally, for the crown jewel this evening, officials and lawmakers push for more government transparency on UFOs. That
was a good transition into the UFO subcommittee.
Yeah, if you haven't heard, yesterday was the House subcommittee meeting on UAPs and UFOs, and I watched it. I took some notes that we can kind of discuss, things that just kind of popped out that were interesting to me. But 3 retired military veterans testified Wednesday at a House hearing on unidentified anomalous phenomena, commonly known as UFOs, warning that their sightings are a national security problem and that the government has been too secretive about them. A House Oversight Subcommittee convened Wednesday's hearing on UFOs, as the lawmakers who pushed for the hearing are calling for the government to be more forthcoming about the unidentified anomalous phenomena. If UAP are foreign drones, it is an urgent national security problem. If it is something else, it is an issue for science. In either case, unidentified objects are a concern for flight safety, said Ryan Graves, a former Navy pilot who now runs Americans for Safe Aerospace, a group he founded to encourage pilots to report incidents of UAPs. The government characterizes the unexplained sightings as UAPs and has released reports on the case in recent years. Graves and David Fravor, a retired U.S. Navy commander, both testified about their own sightings of UAPs while they were serving in the military. David Grush, a former Air Force intelligence officer, alleged that the government has covered up its research into the unidentified sightings and said he reported information to the intelligence community inspector general. The technology that we faced was far superior than anything we had, Fravor said of the episode he witnessed in 2004 when asked why UAPs are a national security threat. Was
that one of the Tic Tac guys?
Yeah. The hearing and the latest push by lawmakers, intelligence officials, and military personnel working on unexplained aerial phenomena to probe the issue on a national platform. This is an issue of government transparency, said Representative Tim Burchett, a Tennessee Republican who pushed to hold Wednesday's hearing. We're not bringing little green men or flying saucers into the hearing. We're just going to get to the facts. We're going to uncover the cover-up, and I hope this is just the beginning of many more hearings. So a round of applause for Representative Tim Burchett, because he was very surprising yesterday. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. UAPs, whatever they may be, may pose a serious threat to our military and our civilian aircraft, and that must be understood. Democratic Representative Robert Garcia of California said, "We should encourage more reporting, not less, on UAPs. The more we understand, the safer we will be." Both Garcia and Representative Jared Moskowitz, a Florida Democrat, said that it was important.
Moskowitz? That's from the American. Is that what it's called? American Tail?
Yeah. It was an important for Congress to work on the issue in a bipartisan manner in order to press for more government transparency. Many Americans are deeply interested in this issue, and it shouldn't take the potential of non-human origin to bring us together. Grush claimed that the U.S. government not only has UAPs in its possession, but also the remnants of the allegedly non-human pilots of the aircraft. However, when he was pressed, he made it clear this was what he has been told by others and did not have first-hand information. That's not something I've witnessed myself, he said. Grush told the Panel, he could provide a list of cooperative and hostile witnesses who could provide
cooperative and hostile witnesses.
Yeah, who could provide Congress with more information about the programs related to UAPs. To continue,
I suggest that they go to the cooperative ones first.
Well, it's talking about the people who are trying to offer other people.
Yeah, the hostile ones are going to be a little dangerous.
Representative Matt Gaetz, a Florida Republican, said that he sought information about the incident he was told about from Eglin Air Force Base in Florida. Gaetz said when he went to Eglin, he was initially denied, but eventually shown an image of the episode, of which he claimed, "I'm not able to attach any human capability either from the United States or from any of our adversaries." This is what a U.S. congressman is saying after seeing the video. Graves said that a stigma remains for both commercial and military pilots when it comes to reporting UAPs. Last year, the House Intelligence Committee held the first congressional hearing on UAPs in decades, and Kirkpatrick's testimony was the first Senate hearing on the matter in recent memory. Of the 650 cases the government is tracking, Kirkpatrick said, we've prioritized about half of them to be anomalous, interesting value, and now we have to go through those and go, how much of these do I have actual data for? So
what was the number again?
Right now, it's 650 cases that the government is tracking. Half of them is what they're prioritizing.
So out of 650, they're like prioritizing 325.
Yes,
that's a lot.
It is.
That makes me think of when Cheryl Costa was on and was talking about the astronomical number that even if you threw out all the other ones, like if you just took like 1%, that it was still like a huge number, you know?
Yeah. I mean, if you watched it, I mean, it went beyond my expectations. So I did take some notes. Tim Burchett was kind of the Representative Tim Burchett from Tennessee. He was the one who was kind of heading up the thing. He started off basically talking about how he thinks there's a huge cover-up, and that they had tried to create a bill that would make it where UAPs from pilots would be reported directly to Congress. So like if an Air Force pilot, Navy pilot, commercial pilot saw a UAP, that report would go directly to probably a Committee on National Defense or whatever.
Like they would also have access to the information.
Yeah, they would be told when it happened, since it was an issue of national security and they're in the National Security Subcommittee. Mm-hmm. And he was told, the representative, that the intelligence community did not like that, and the amendment wasn't even brought up for a vote.
But wait a minute, Frosty. Didn't you say that they were the subcommittee on national security?
Yeah. Well, I think that's one of the things.
Somebody else said that the subcommittee of national security isn't allowed to look at the national security information. What does this mean?
It's interesting, right? Another thing I put in my notes yesterday was Representative Anna Luna from Florida. Her opening quotes and her opening comments was, "It is unacceptable to continue gaslighting Americans into thinking this is not happening, or that the potential of intelligent life forms existing other than humans." We were even
Anna Luna.
She goes on to say we were even denied access to a classified briefing prior to the hearing due to the amount of hoops that they had to jump through. So there was
denied access to a classified hearing of the things that they're supposed to be looking at and talking about. So what does this mean?
So going on, Ryan Graves, who was the former F-18 pilot, who flew combat missions and Operation Enduring Freedom, he experienced UAPs. One I thought was interesting to mention, he witnessed a UAP 10 miles off the coast of Virginia Beach, not too far from where we are
we
now.
We were just at the beach.
And talks about a gray or black cube inside a clear sphere.
Now, so, that is one that I have not ever heard of before. A dark colored cube inside of a clear sphere. Has anybody else heard of that kind of UFO before? That's crazy.
And then he starts talking about how there would be like many of them, and they would form like these diamond shaped formations. This is just 10 miles off the coast. And then he said he didn't see this one, but he had another pilot in his squadron come back from a flight totally shaken up because he almost hit one, or came within 50 feet of one on coming into land at the Naval Weapons Station. He said UAPs are in our airspace and that the sightings are routine. That there was a stigma attached to this. The stigma attached was challenging our national security, and excessive classification practices keep crucial information hidden. He said since 2021, all UAP videos are labeled secret or above. And that the UAPs became so frequent that crews began to discuss their risk as part of their regular pre-flight briefs.
Yeah.
Which to me was kind of astonishing because...
Which you you weren't in the Air Force, but you were in the Army. And I know that I heard many a story about your safety briefings, which usually included don't sexually harass someone and drink water. And there's our try not to run into any UFOs.
That became a standard in their pre-flight briefings of like, hey,
so if just imagine the Air Force briefing. So today y'all are going to go up in the sky, do some little flying, and you're going to do this and you're going to do that. So remember, while you're doing that, don't sexually harass anybody, drink water, and by the way, don't run into any UFOs.
Yes. But to me, it was astonishing because at that point, you're saying like almost every time they're flying down there at the beach, and this basically goes for the whole East Coast because of how fast they can go. Mm-hmm. They're basically saying like, hey, keep an eye out for these things. Make sure that, you're aware that this is a possibility before you go up in the sky. Like it's not a random thing that's happening. Like this one time I saw this thing, it's become so frequent that they're like prepared for it when they're taking flights.
That's pretty crazy.
Grush, who was the guy that article we had in Discord, still not completely sure about what I think about his story, but he was an Air Force intelligence officer, and he I don't know what the civilian rank was, but it's equal to a full bird colonel. So this guy isn't just some guy with a mop in his hand that decided to become a whistleblower. Like this guy has stuff to lose. Basically, without saying it, was asked if people had been harmed to keep these things secrets, and he said that he could only speak about it in a closed session. Most of his answers
which means the answer to has anyone been harmed because of this is yes. Because if the answer was no, he could have just said no. But he said he had to talk about it in a closed session, which means yes.
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 And he's the one who said that he could provide the corporations. Well, and he was talking about the corporations that are involved.
Corporations.
Yeah, the companies that were involved that have, because he was talking about the fact that he's been told by people high up in the intelligence on the inside have collected extraterrestrial crafts and extraterrestrial biologics or bodies, which he hasn't seen for himself. But this, the U.S. government doesn't do any of that. Like they have Northrop Grumman and companies that make all the military.
So
equipment.
You're talking about the corporate companies that would be building the things,
reverse engineering them,
alien technology that they have recovered. Yeah.
So basically,
Gotcha.
through saying that, he also basically said that we're reverse
With
engineering.
Northrop Grumman is like the one that builds like everything.
Yeah. Well, that was just in the company I named, but yeah,
Yeah.
that would be one of the ones. There's some other Lockheed Martin,
Mm-hmm.
places, yeah, Skunk Works. He also talked about DARPA. DARPA was mentioned, which is, another one of those things. When you talk about, it's a name that comes up. And then the last guy I wanted to talk about was the third witness yesterday, and that was Commander Fravor, retired U.S. Navy Black Aces. So his training was suspended and put into World War tasking. So they were supposed to go out on the coast in the Pacific Ocean. I think they were flying out of San Diego. They were going out on a training mission, and then they get told that they're actually going to go do a real world mission, that the training has been suspended. They were told they would investigate objects that have been coming down rapidly from 80,000 feet to 20,000 feet. And then he mentioned, in case people didn't know, that basically if you go over 80,000 feet, you're in space.
Mm-hmm.
And this had been happening for 2 weeks.
Wow.
They went to investigate white Tic Tac objects. They approached the area. Commander Fravor went to investigate the object while others watched from above. And the Tic Tac accelerated and disappeared. Then he was radioed, and their contact said that the object was now 60 miles away, and that happened in less than a minute. He said he would let Congress calculate that speed. The incident was never investigated. The crew was never questioned. And the tapes for that encounter were never taken. So they just pretended like it didn't happen.
Yep. Mm-hmm. We don't know what's happening, so we're just going to pretend like nothing's happening.
And when he was questioned about that, they asked, he was pretty adamant. He said that not only do we not have that technology, but that none of our adversaries have that technology. And he theorized that we wouldn't even have that technology 20 years in the future. So he then told Congress that they could figure out for themselves where that technology would have to come from. It was really interesting because, people, it wasn't, I was expecting to hear lots of like talking out the side of their mouth and stuff like that. But it was pretty open. The terms extraterrestrial was used. Term alien spacecraft was used.
Priestess of Wonderland said, speaking of the Tic Tacs, this came up in this yesterday, that the velocity at which they maneuvered would not be possible for a human to survive.
Yes. Yeah, because the Jeep, well, imagine going 60 miles in a minute. Oh, was that the speed, or was it even faster than that? Yeah, 60 miles.
60 miles
in a minute.
Not
an hour. We go 60 miles an hour.
Yeah. Yeah. Think about that.
You fly in a plane 500 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, these things can basically, and you're not even saying that's top speed. That could be them just. Well, and there was also theories brought up in the meeting yesterday. I think you would have enjoyed, actually, things that we've talked about before. But when they talked about it being possibly extraterrestrial, Grush said that he wouldn't limit it to that because there was also possibilities of being interdimensional and things like that.
Interdimensional or time travel?
Yeah. Hologram. They also brought up the idea that they could be holograms that are being sent from other parts of space.
Yeah.
So they're not actually traveling at that speed. Like they
could be remotely, they could be remotely driven where nobody's actually in it anyway.
Yeah.
They could be holograms.
They could just be projecting an image.
Yes.
Wherever they want it to be projected. Very similarly to remote viewing, which is what...
Excellent transition.
We are going to talk about next. So if you missed it, I would encourage you to go on YouTube. It's all over the place. It was definitely entertaining. It was more entertaining than I actually thought it would be. There's a lot of information. And then the last thing I'll say about that, to sum it up, was that basically out of the meeting came an idea that they need to have more meetings, that they need to bring in people who can actually answer questions that are higher up inside.
They should be allowed to receive. The subcommittee for the national defense should be able to see the information. They don't have to share that information with the public, but they should be able to see it. That's what their job is.
There was quite a few talk in there. Some of the higher ranking members of Congress that were in the committee said that they were going to, I can't remember the name of the rule, but they were basically going to start shaking some chains and start causing problems.
Yeah,
and there were pretty big, well-known people in there. Like this wasn't, I think AOC, Ocasio-Cortez was in the subcommittee. It was a big deal. And so we'll see where that goes.
Liz wanted to talk about the theory that hospital patients are more frequently abducted before we move on to the remote viewing exercise.
That hospital patients are more frequently abducted. I mean, I've heard, not through any personal conversations, but I've heard lots of stories, especially when it comes to like ghost sightings and stuff like that, and I'm just kind of speaking without knowing anything here, but I've heard that doctors and nurses, if you want a ghost story, that's who you should go talk to.
Yeah. But Luce is talking about hospital
alien
patients.
Abductions. I haven't heard.
Alien abductions, yes.
Alien abductions.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of any cases of that. But if you're just talking about, is that somewhere they would be abducted from? I think that could be interesting. Although, if someone gets abducted from their bed and then the beeper starts going off because they got disconnected from their IV or whatever, I would be interested to see if there were more. I haven't heard of one. Nursing homes, definitely a possibility. It'd be interesting to see. It would be interesting to have someone on to talk who's written about abductions and to ask that question. Is there certain locations that people tend to be abducted from more than others? One of the most popular cases, one of the first cases was it I don't know if I'm gonna get the names right, Betty and Barney Hill?
Betty and Barney Hill, yes.
And they were abducted from their car. I've heard lots of stories of people being abducted from their bed, of course.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about the hospital situation.
Mm-hmm. So that'd be interesting to look into for sure. And if we have, I would love to have someone come on who's done some research into that and be able to ask some of those questions.
Yeah.
So if you're out there and you're listening to the show and you have some expertise there, feel free to contact us. JohnnyTheFrost@gmail.com.
Aliens. Y'all want to come on a podcast?
Yeah. JohnnyTheFrost@gmail.com. Send us a message and let's have a interesting conversation. All right, so that we knew that the news. We don't have a guest tonight, and but it worked out well because knowing that we have this UAP subcommittee hearing, I knew that was going to take up some time. It's interesting. It's something we talk about quite a bit on the show, and it's probably one of my personal favorite topics. So I was going to talk about it hell or high water. And then we were talking about
diligently taking notes yesterday while I was watching the subcommittee.
I mean, to me, it just seems like something out of a movie. It's something I never thought that I would see. I always wanted to see, but I never, if you would have gone back 10 years in the past and told a younger Johnny the Frost that there was going to be a public congressional meeting held talking about the government covering up UFOs and the government capturing UFOs and biological life forms from extraterrestrial craft, I don't know if I would have believed you. And so it's kind of surreal to see this happening, and you don't know what to make of it because people who have been interested in these topics have felt like they've been lied to for so long that there's been no trust between the government and people who have witnessed UFOs and reported UFO sightings or like Luce was talking about, been abducted and all these kinds of things. They've just been crackpots. And now you have respected members of Congress using language you would never expect them to use. And so it's been interesting. So we have that. And before we transition, I do want to talk, let me bring up my handy dandy calendar real quick for guests that we do have coming up. So on August 17th, we're going to have Mark Hunter Brooks back.
Ooh, August 17th. There you go, Keisha. Keisha was wondering, when is Mark Hunter Brooks coming back?
Because August we didn't even get to 17th. Talk to him about what he wanted to talk about last time. We kind of, we got into some other topics. So I'm sure we're going to lead off with all the things he kind of didn't get a chance to get to last time. And then I might even ask him about, I'm sure we'll be talking to a lot of people about these subcommittee hearings. Before that, on a very special version of the Witching Hours, we're actually not going to do a show on a Thursday. We're going to do a show on a Saturday, I think at 1 p.m., and we are going to chat to Charlie. And this is a
1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on August 5th.
She has a heck of a story. We can I'll put her information up on Discord if you want to go take an early look, but she has a heck of a story, and she is a medium and metaphysical specialist. She's been on television shows and done the gamut, written books.
We're having to have it at a different time because she's in the UK.
Yeah, she's in the UK, and not someone like me who can stay up till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And so we're going to bring her on. So it's a little bit doable on her time zone. And I will have started going back to work by then, so we couldn't do it during the day. So we're going to push it to a Saturday, have the conversation early. So that'll be the Witching Hours live here on Twitch, but a little bit of a different time. And then the next show that we have after that, I actually don't have on my calendar.
September 7th. Do you have that?
Oh, that's what it is. I just had moved. Yeah, September 7th. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we're going to have Brandon Schexnader on. And he runs a podcast that talks about the paranormal. And he's also a musician, and he's been involved in recording some very big recording artists, some that you definitely have probably heard of. So he had a music career, and now he does a podcast talking about ghosts and paranormal and all the weird stuff that we talk about. So he's going to come on and join us on September 7th. We were trying to get him lined up before, but it's the time of summer vacations and people are out and about and doing stuff, and so that kind of going out was a little bit better for his schedule. We have a bunch more coming down the pipeline too, so when we hear about them, we'll let you know. But anyway, that's what we have coming up on
that are set in the calendar.
Yeah, that's what we have coming down the line. Okay, do you want to set up the ground rules for this evening?
Yes, I've been talking about it this week. If you have been in my streams, Tuesday or Wednesday stream. So we're going to do a remote viewing exercise, and you're welcome to do it along with us. Like, that's what this is for. It's for you guys to do it with us. If you're not comfortable doing it, or you don't got time or whatever, that's fine. But this is supposed to be a community effort. So if you want to jump in and do this with us, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah. And when we when we talked about going and doing the show weekly now, instead of like we're doing it every other Thursday, we know there's going to be we wanted to do some shows that were a little bit more community driven, not always having a guest. And so these are some things we're going to try to do.
Yes.
I would like to do some like, get a lot of people in here and do some thought projects, like all focusing our energy on making something happen. I don't know what that is, because I feel like in some ways that could be dangerous. But using all of our, brain and consciousness and spiritual power to try to change something for the better. That's something else we have lined up. But tonight, yeah, we're doing remote viewing.
So we've done a remote viewing witching hours before where we did a community experiment, but it was just having you guys remote view a location. Like Frosty and I both picked a location, and then we wanted the viewers to look into that remotely and then give us the information about the location. And it was super fun. A lot of people picked up on different things. I remember the most exciting thing was Frosty's location was Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, because he lived there as a young teenager, middle schooler. And somebody picked up on something specific. And he was like, I don't remember that. Like it wasn't there, or he didn't remember it. So people started looking up pictures of Guantanamo Bay, and the thing that they described was in the picture. So it either had been added since he lived there, or he just didn't remember it. That was the coolest part of that episode. So we're going to do something a little different today. So we're not going to go to a specific location. Like we don't have any locations picked because we also want to do going through time. Can we remove you somebody's place and flip their table? Maybe that will be our thought experiment. Maybe we'll all focus our energies on flipping a table at Hoekster's house. That'll be our thought experiment.
In the past.
In the past.
But if we do it in the past, how will he know?
I don't know. If a table flipped over and he remembers the table flipping over, then we'll know. He'll know that it happened. But anyway, tonight, we're not flipping tables at Hoekster's house tonight. What we want to do tonight is pick either an event in the past. So it can be an event. Remember, I told you guys, put your thinking caps on, start making a list. It's either a place, like an event that happened in the past. Like my example was the Gettysburg Address. Or it can be a location and a time. Like, I'm sure Luce's suggestion is going to be ancient Egypt. Okay? So it's got to be a place and a time, anytime, or an event. So what I want you guys to do right now is to put your suggestions in the chat. What event would you like to remote view in time in the past, or a place and a time? So you got to be specific. You can't just say, I want to see Greece, because Greece could be right now Greece. Like you're going to have to pick a time period with the Greece. You see what I'm saying? Yeah.
So
give us some suggestions.
Anytime, any place. Yeah, throw them in chat, and then we'll do a poll.
Mm-hmm. And depending on how this goes, it could be the future, Priestess. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Anytime, any place. Okay, 1776 Philadelphia.
Okay. We can remote view the future as well. That would be fun. But be specific. Like you want to see a place in the future.
Seneca Falls Convention, July 1848.
That's very specific. Thank you, Liz. An event in time. Depending on how well this goes, we can do multiple of these tonight. So if we do a poll and yours doesn't get picked, we'll probably going to do more than one.
We were thinking like maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah,
we'll see
2
how
or
it goes,
3.
but...
And if it's going really well, maybe we could do like 4. To go to when the aliens come to Earth. So I wouldn't know the date for that.
Yeah.
Well, we could ask for that specifically, though. Even if we don't know the date, we could set the intention that we want to see when like you're specifically thinking not necessarily when aliens come to Earth, because they probably already have, but when it's open to up to everybody, right? Like it's publicly known that aliens are here. Is that what you want like to see? Yeah, when the mothership is
1947,
coming. Hey, little
Roswell,
Wing.
New Mexico.
There you go. There's an event. Keisha was unprepared. You were already typing when she was talking about the aliens coming to Earth. Yeah. These are all great suggestions. Excellent suggestions. November 9th, 1799, French Revolution. That would be a crazy one. Oh, yeah, Independence Day. Yeah, hopefully not that kind of alien invasion. Bethesda, Maryland, May 18th, 1992. Hi, CMC. You just in time for the remote viewing experience. Remote viewing exercise experiment.
I'd like to do one of the lesser known temples in Egypt, but times are messy. I was thinking about that earlier too, because we were thinking earlier we would probably have some ancient Egypt or something. I guess we could figure out a rough estimation of time.
Yeah. They're not going to be a specific date for that, but
Um,
New York in the year 5052. Ooh. Your first future date. Hopefully it's not the year 5052. Oh, what their month would be compared to ours. They have a different kind of calendar.
yeah, I think you would almost just have to go with like a year there, or like just an intention to go to that location in the past.
Yeah, like 1,000-year time frame or something, or 500-year time frame. Or, I don't know. 1,000 is a lot. Pick 100-year time frame, maybe. Okay, so we have some really good suggestions. So Frosty, have you been putting them in a poll?
I have not yet.
Okay. Let's just start. We'll just go through and put, how many spots are there? 5, right?
Let me look. We'll get it going here.
We'll just put the first 5 in, and we'll vote on those. And then we'll do it again, and we'll replace it with the next one.
Okay.
And I'll read them off to you. Ready?
Hold 1 second.
Okay.
All right, first one.
1776 Philadelphia.
All right.
This one's probably not going to all fit in there, so you might have to abbreviate it, but it's the Seneca Falls Convention, July 1848.
Okay.
Okay, so for this one, it's a future unknown date, but it's going to be when aliens are publicly known. Aliens publicly known.
Publicly come to Earth?
Yes.
Okay.
Roswell, 1947.
Okay.
Okay. November 9th, 1799, which is the French Revolution.
Okay. How long do we want to do the duration for?
Okay, so I'm gonna do a short little meditation, and then I'll since I'm doing the meditation, I'll start the timer when I'm done with the meditation. So I'm going to lead you guys through a very short little meditation for those of you that are going to be participating, which hopefully most of you are.
Do you want to put up the poll before or after?
Oh, you're talking about the...
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the duration of the poll. Yep. Just like 2 minutes. Sorry, I thought you were talking about the actual thing, the remote viewing.
All right, we'll put it up for 2 minutes. So go ahead and vote.
Okay, vote. Those are our first 5 choices.
And if you're listening on the podcast, you won't get to help choose the area, but feel free.
You can still participate.
To participate. And as I said before, if you have something cool and you want to share it, feel free to go to the YouTube page on this episode, which I think will be episode 28 or 29. I'll have it in the description, and leave a comment.
Yes, CMC, we're proposing and choosing a specific time and place to remote view. Mm-hmm. Woodstock, that would be cool. Should be the future or some event time before photos and videos. Oh yeah, that'd be cool, CMC. July 8th, 1947 is a specific date for Roswell. Thank you, Little Wing. Egyptians had 3 seasons each with 4 months of 30 days, and they also had intercalary month of 5. I probably said that wrong. Oh, your head's pounding. I'm sorry, Luz. So far, we have 4 for When Aliens Arrive, 2 for Seneca Falls, and 2 for Roswell, New Mexico. It looks like we might be going to see When Aliens Arrive. Which is perfect because we were just talking about that, for like 40 minutes. How exciting! It's going to be so exciting. That's the winner. Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Roswell
When Aliens Arrive. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I ended up getting kind of nauseous today, Luce, because I think I was dehydrated because it was so freaking hot. Yeah, you missed the UFO stuff. Yep. Well, you can we'll watch
have it up this weekend, CMC.
Yeah, you can watch or listen to it later, but you'll miss the discussion. Yes. Okay, so what I was explaining earlier, when I was confused about the question that Frosty asked. The duration of the actual remote viewing is what I was thinking he was asking. So, what's going to happen here is, if you would like to participate in the remote viewing experiment, I'm going to lead you through a very short meditation. I mean, really, if we were going to do this for any length of time, we probably would want to do a much longer meditation and get yourself really into like a meditative state. But we're just doing this for fun, and it's just for a little exercise. It's not anything that's like, super in depth. So we're just going to do a very short meditation, which I will lead you through. And then I'm going to set a timer for 3 minutes. And all of us that are participating will be quiet and have our eyes closed. And we'll be focusing on those psychic abilities, all the clairs, which a lot of you would take in the class with me, or you know about them already. Seeing, hearing, knowing, feeling, smelling, tasting, all those things, your psychic clairs. You're going to be focusing on what you see, what you hear, what you feel, what you know For some of you, it's going to be one or the other, or a combination of them. And if you're thinking about, like, if you're having trouble doing it, just focus on your breathing, clear your mind, and go with whatever you're feeling or seeing or thinking. So we're doing yours, Allison, when aliens arrive. So we're going to the future. So then when the timer goes off and we come back from our remote viewing, then we're going to all discuss. So, kind of be making a mental note of the things that you get in the 3 minutes. And then when we come back, we'll all share and compare and contrast what we experience. Does anybody have any questions? I would like to share at this time that the Wanderer, which is our child, it started streaming World of Warships. Wanderer 2053. The Wanderer 2053. Don't watch him right now because we're doing remote viewing. But you should give him a follow, give him some love and support. This is his first stream today. He's like a high-ranked World of Warships player. Multiple times highly ranked World of Warships player. So he's going to be streaming that. So yeah, we need to go give him some love, but not right now.
Yeah, I guess that's what we could raid out to tonight, maybe.
Yeah, we'll go raid the Wanderer.
Yeah. That'll be a whole lot of confusion and chaos in his first stream.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So Priestess of Wonderland would like everybody to see if they can find a date somewhere.
Yeah.
Or maybe feel the date.
Around.
Or what is it? What kind? Does it seem like it's recent? Like soon? Or does it feel like it's like this is
cold
not
outside?
Right now? Yes.
Should there be a location that we try to, since we don't really have a time, should we look at a location?
We don't know the location either for this.
Okay.
So we're just going to set the intention that we would like to see the event. We're asking for an event. When and where aliens publicly come to Earth. Thank you for shouting out the Wanderer. Okay, does anybody have any questions? Any more questions? So once we do the meditation, the timer is going to be for 3 minutes, which doesn't seem like a long time. But if you never really meditated before, 3 minutes is going to seem like forever. You're going to be like, I've been sitting here and I think I saw a balloon. Is the time up yet?
And I would say too, if you don't get anything, that's fine.
It's fine. Don't feel bad if you don't get anything. Okay.
We're just seeing how it goes.
Yes. All right. If nobody else has any more questions, I'm going to go ahead and start getting you guys ready.
All right, let's do it.
Meditatively ready. All right. Okay. So you need to get yourself comfortable and you want to close your eyes. And we're going to just focus on your breathing for about 3 breaths. But they're going to be specific kinds of breaths. So just listen to my voice and follow along. I want you to breathe in as deeply as you can. Really feeling the air go down your throat, into your chest. Feel your chest expanding. And hold that breath for a second. And then exhale. While you're doing these deep breathings, feel your body relaxing. Feel your mind clearing. When you find that there's a thought, just watch it pass like a cloud in the sky. Taking that deep breath in, filling your lungs, holding it for a second, and exhaling. Relaxing your joints, your jaw, your neck. Releasing your tensions of the day, releasing your thoughts of the day. I do one more big, deep breath together. Breathing in as deeply as you can, focusing on that breath, holding it for a second, and exhaling. Now we're going to set the intention that we would like to remotely visit the time and location of when extraterrestrial alien beings will publicly come to Earth. When is it going to be globally known and witnessed? And where? As we go into our remote viewing, perhaps it might be helpful to start with a little visualization. Imagine you are standing outside of a door. What does that door look like? What is it made of? How large is it? What kind of handle or knob does it have? I want you to reach out and grab the handle or the knob of that door. Open it up and take a step through the door. And when you get on the other side, you will be witnessing the event in the future of when aliens publicly come to Earth. Going to bring you all back now from your remote viewing. Our 3 minutes is up. You want to slowly bring yourself back. Open your eyes when you're ready. Move your body. Feel yourself in your seat. Remember where you are. If you need to, let's take a couple minutes or a minute or so to jot down some notes if you're someone who likes to write. I know CMC likes to type his. Frosty might also be doing the same. So I'm going to take a minute to write down the things that I saw. And hello to Terra Mama. Terra Mama, maybe you can do the next one with us. We're going to do another one. We were just looking at the arrival in the future of aliens publicly coming to Earth. I saw some crazy stuff.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say it yet. I want to write it down first.
Yeah, I saw something pretty quickly. So I got out early.
Okay.
I got in early and out early. So I've already typed up my notes.
Okay, cool.
So something we can try tonight. If someone's interested, let us know. I do have guest star open for our wild card line. If someone wants to tell us, if they don't want to type in chat, if you want to talk with us about what you saw, feel free to request to join. You don't have to. There's no pressure there. But if someone wanted to, then feel free to do that, as we're trying to kind of get the kinks worked out to be able to have people talk to guests in the future. So if you saw something really cool and you want to explain it instead of typing it, that is an option. If not, you can just let us know in chat whenever you're ready. If you saw something, any little thing, anything that you saw in your meditation.
Okay, I'm ready. The year was pretty much was yelled at loose. Luce, what was the year that you heard? Poster said, I sense the UFO normal disc shape, see them in the space, and heard they are not going to Earth, but I feel California would be the place that they would enter Earth, and they ship as greenish colors, and they talk in different languages at one point. That's very interesting. Do you want to read Keisha's, Frosty?
Yeah, year was for me was 2953 in a desert with palm trees. They were very pale and about 10 feet tall. Lots of humans were taking pictures. It reminded me of a Space Jam with all the cameras pointed at the aliens. Their ship looked like those Easy Bird drawings.
Wow. Posters got the month of February or March. Keisha said that hers took a hot minute. I stepped out the door and was immediately back on this side of it. So time rewound and the door shut. Then I saw a craft and the lights moving upward toward the top, but no time or date. That's good, though. That's good. CMC's done typing. Wow. All right, Frosty, tell us yours.
So, very quickly, I saw a landscape I was pretty familiar with. And it looked like, when you're in Texas and you're driving towards Dallas, kind of from Waco, you get to the south side of Dallas and you can kind of see the city. I saw something like that. It had a very big sky. So thank you for the subscription, Terra Mama. Thank you so much. So it looked like a definitely a big sky territory. first thing that came into mind was Dallas, Texas.
Mhm.
And then I was wanting to look around the city to see if any of the buildings were different because I wanted to get
Yeah.
an idea
Time frame.
of the year. And at first I said, man, there's this gigantic like glass metal structure. Like I have no clue when something like this would be built. And then I realized that it was the Cowboy Stadium.
Like the one they're building now?
No, the one they've had, they call it Jerry World. You remember seeing it? It looked like a UFO. You said it looked like a UFO?
Yes. Yeah, I remember seeing it.
So it was modern times. It could have been the past, present, or the future. But that's the idea I got. And then I saw a wide, like almost a bar shaped thing in the sky, and it was going from side to side, like just kind of dancing back and forth, side to side, like that.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Moving, like sliding side to side. And then in my image in my mind, I saw a humanoid that had quite a few reptilian features.
Oh, Princess Wonderland.
So I wouldn't necessarily say it was what people have described as a reptilian, but it definitely had some features. Eyes, nose, like a ridge that made them seem definitely alien to us. Although I think maybe more alien than reptilian, just different looking. And then I couldn't really see anything else more than that, but that's what I got.
Wow.
And I also, before we go into someone else's here, I wanted to bring up that one interesting thing about this is we said aliens.
Yes.
But there could be different times in the future where different aliens
come. Yes. And there could be multiple different there could be multiple different times that they publicly come. I was saying
Dallas,
the same thing. Lou said that their first thought was the Death Valley, but they're not sure because they haven't seen it before. Little Wing said that she got 2025, but then got a number correction of 2027. Each of us could be correct. Each of us could be picking up on different races of aliens. Yes, we were just saying that. Luce had already said it in the chat. Yeah, very bushy like that. Yeah. Poor Priestess Wonderland's phone cut out and she was stuck in remote viewing land forever.
For a long time.
You're thinking Vegas. Yeah, different areas of the U.S. so far. I also saw what I think was the U.S. I'll tell mine in a minute. CMC's post is going to be 2 texts. Hoaxer Census Nevada. Hey, linguists, we're doing remote viewing of when aliens are going to come see. We were just talking about a remote viewing of when aliens are going to come to Earth publicly. Okay, do you want to read CMC's, Frosty?
Yes, CMC Airboss saw a San Francisco tall pyramid type of building with a spiral. Very clean, modern, silvery buildings. There were autonomous cars on a highway. Saw a Ron DeSantis type of politician at a podium outside the base of a building that seemed to be New York, but didn't look like it. I smelled a city.
Ooh, smelled it.
I saw 2036, and then 36 became very prominent.
Oh, wow.
Shorter with large eyes, grayish green being introduced. It was a public announcement, but the aliens had clearly been there before, and it was the first public statement.
Wow. Oh, Little Wing thinks it might be 2725, or 2075, but somewhere there's a 7 in there. Interesting. Linguist has taken a lunch break. Yay. Keisha said, I actually sensed a couple of things more than saw them. A friend wrote a book, and I saw a scene from his book where people in the government or public positions were coming forward as having been here for years, and then it flashed to the old TV show V, and I like, oh, quit it. Maybe like Frosty's Aliens. Yeah, America is probably the easiest place to land. Might be. All right, do you guys want to hear mine? Mine has some very similar things that other people also had, yet it's different. Okay, so I was on a beach, which multiple people Luce saw sand. Okay. And Hoagster said California. So I was on a beach, and on the beach was set up a stage with a podium, and there were politicians and military officials, reporters and television cameras, and there was a whole, chairs set up in the sand. But the chairs were facing the dunes, and the podium was set up in front of the dunes. And I was like, why the hell are we on a beach? And I turn around, and in the water is the UFO. Like the UFO had landed in the water, and it was huge. It looked like a giant silver bean. Like it was round, like an oval, and just silver and smooth. And then a beam of light, like a conveyor belt, like the kind of like those escalator things that you get on at the airport, but they don't go up and down, they just go forward, so you can walk real fast. That comes out of the UFO, but no door opens or anything. Just a light comes out, and there's 3 alien beings on the light, and it's moving like a conveyor. They come over the top of the heads of people, and then the light makes stairs, and the alien beings walk down the stairs. But in mine, there were 3 different alien types. One of them was reptilians, which is what Frosty saw. And it wasn't what people, it wasn't exactly like people show reptilians looking like, which is also what Frosty said. This one was more snake-like looking, and it had a body like a human, like it had arms and legs, but the way that it moved itself was more like a snake. And it had on a cream-colored robe that had a high collar on it. And its hands, it was holding its hands in front of it like this. And the other one, I saw them in reverse. I saw the one at the back of the line first, and that was the reptilian looking one. And then the one in front of it, well, he was really tall too. The snake guy was really tall. And then the one in front of him was really tall too. And I don't know who it was because I didn't see it very long. But based on and I'm getting the kind of sensations in my body now when I'm getting ready to say it, so I know this must be true. Based on what I have experienced with the Palladians, that's what it seemed like the one in the middle was. It seemed like a Palladian to me. And then the one in the front, I don't know because I didn't see because the timer went off. So there's a lot of similar things going on there with other people's remote viewing.
Interesting.
How interesting. Ooh. People mover. Yeah. A moving sidewalk. Yes. 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 Linguist was getting chills. Like V mixed with arrival. Crazy. So, Priestess of Wonderland, what did you see? What did you experience? Yeah, we're all pretty much in the same ballpark. And when Hoaxer said California, I was like, yes. I felt like the beach could have been in California. We could have all been trying to see them from our own perspective when the announcement was made. Very true. We did a 3-minute meditation. Mm-hmm. Hi, Amber. How are you? Yeah, that's it. Linguist, you know damn well if you did that 3-minute meditation, you would have seen some crazy stuff. Yeah. Yeah. 3 minutes can be a long time when you're meditating. All that in 3 minutes. I got stuck thinking about my door because it was my childhood bedroom door. And then it made me think about Susan Spooner hypnosis session that said we have already been attacked by aliens in 97 or 98. Weird, Allison.
Yeah, there's an old episode of Dark Matter or Midnight in the Desert with Dr. Jacobs. And the couple episodes that he was on, they talked about there already being like basically an alien invasion that's taken place. That's what the abductions and stuff were about. They were creating a hybrid species to populate our planet.
Kind of like the secret invasion we're watching right now.
Mm-hmm. So I found something kind of similar to what I saw, and I'll put that in Discord at some point later.
Keisha said, mine, the man on the TV, but the craft was in front of me like I was with it, but the announcement was elsewhere. Mine focused mainly on the craft. Yeah. And Allison said, I was like, no, take me to the future, alien contact. And I was having the perspective from above, like I was looking down on humans. And the X-Files covered that, yeah. Awesome linguist, yes. I expect a full, detailed report of your meditation.
Yeah, and for all people listening to us in the future, feel free, like I said before, go to YouTube, and if you saw something similar to what somebody saw, or you saw something, let us know.
Priestess said that she also noticed people were in long sleeves like it was fall. I also thought that it must not be summertime in mine because people weren't dressed very like summer-ish. But if it was California, the beach is cold in California all year long. So I don't know if that would matter. Yeah. Really interesting. This was so fun.
Good stuff.
Let's do another one.
Lots of fun things there.
Let's do another one. Where are we gonna go now? Okay. You ready to make another poll, Frosty?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so the one that got the second most votes was Roswell, 1947, right?
Yeah, Roswell, 47.
So let's put that one back in there, and then we'll skip ahead and do some of the other ones that people said after that. So we also have Bethesda, Maryland, May 18th, 1992. Let me know when you're ready for the next one. 18th, 1992.
Okay.
We also have New York, 5052.
That's the city?
Yes, New York City, 5052.
Okay.
Woodstock in 1969.
We have a month for that? Was it May?
It is August 15th, 1969. Let's see. Was there any other ones after that? Do you have space for more?
One more.
Let's go back and put in the French Revolution one, which was November 9th, 1799. Armageddon.
All right, the poll's up.
All right, there's our new choices. Roswell, 1947. Bethesda, Maryland, May 18th, 1992. New York in the year 5052. Woodstock, 1969. And the French Revolution in 1799.
Roswell has jumped out to an early lead. 3 votes for Roswell. Votes for Bethesda, Woodstock, and the French Revolution. Now we have a tie between Roswell 1947 is back in the lead there. So we'll give it a little bit more time, but
we're all in the aliens today.
Well, with the Senate, with the House subcommittee hearing it, so it's been on the mind.
Yeah.
While we're waiting for the poll to end too, I've been thinking when I set this page up, I just put like a placeholder of this element 115 as our channel points. But start thinking about something different we can use for channel points. What's something cool we could have for channel points for this channel? Think of some things and put it in chat or put it in Discord later, and maybe we can do a poll and come up with a cool channel points. Or we can keep it that, but we should see if we can get something cool there.
Luce was trying to get us to go see them being born. That's what I was thinking. That's what it was. We got 4 votes for Roswell, 3 for the French Revolution, 1 for Luce's birth, which I have a feeling I know who voted for that one, and 1 for Woodstock.
A few more seconds left to go. Got another one for Roswell.
Must be
so
Roswell.
Looks like we're going to Roswell, New Mexico.
Yeah. Keisha, I was thinking the same thing. I don't know if she'd want us all in the birthing room. All right, Roswell 47. Okay. All right.
July 1947.
1947. We know exactly what we want to see. Because we're not just saying we want to show up in Roswell in a diner in 1947. We want to see what supposedly happened with the spaceship crashing. So we'll be specific.
July 8th. Yep, July 8th, 1947.
We're going to be specific here. We don't want to just show up in Roswell and at like a hardware store. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be tough CMC Airbus because you already know what it looks like.
Yeah. Very true. Yeah. Okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions about what we're doing? Because I know we have some people that have come in since we did the last one. So what we're doing is we're remote viewing just through meditation and visualization. We're going to Roswell, New Mexico, July 8th, 1947, just through using our psychic abilities, the clairs. So visualization, seeing, hearing, feeling, knowing, smelling, tasting, any of those things.
We were talking about the Witching Hours stories that's going to be coming out about Project Pegasus. That story will talk about real time machines, but the program actually started with remote viewing time travel.
Yes, which is what we're doing.
So,
hey, Mr. Weird.
If you listen to the stories coming out very soon, then you'll be like, hey, I've done that.
Yeah. I saw the aliens landing in the future. All right. Yeah. Anybody got any questions before we start this one?
Are you ready to get weird? The real Mr. Weird? Want to get weird?
Yeah.
We're about to get really weird once again.
Mr. Weird just learned about clairvoyance on TikTok today.
Yes, our
Where
resident,
did you learn that?
Our resident TikToker.
Yeah, my first TikTok. The last time I looked at it, it had almost 800 views already. So I guess it was a good idea to get on TikTok.
But I don't
over there.
I don't know on TikTok land if that's like one YouTube view. I don't know.
I don't know. I know that's way more views.
That's a good number.
That might be more views than all of my YouTube videos put together. So I'm taking the win on that one. Yeah.
Always take the win. Okay. Let's get weird.
Okay. If there's no questions, we're going to start this meditation. So if you would like to participate in this remote viewing, you need to get yourself prepared because I'm going to go through the meditation again, just like the first time around. So the very first thing you need to do is get yourself comfortable. And then you need to close your eyes. And we're going to start with some breathing. Deep breathing in a specific way. So you want to breathe in deeply, as deep as you can, really focusing on feeling the air go down your throat, filling your lungs, your chest expanding. Hold that breath for a second, and then exhale. And as you're doing this breath work, you also want to relax your body. Relax the tension in any of your joints, your neck, shoulders, jaw. You also want to relax your mind. If thoughts come, just watch them pass like a floating cloud going through the sky. And breathing deeply in, filling your lungs, holding it for a second, and exhaling. Calming yourself, calming your body, calming your mind. One more deep breath together. Breathing in as deeply as you can, feeling your chest expand. Holding that breath for a second and exhaling. We're going to imagine that door once again. It might be the same door you already saw. It could be something completely different. But I want you to imagine standing in front of a door, and I want you to notice what it looks like. What is it made of? What color is it? What kind of knob or handle does it have? How big is it? We're going to set the intention that when we walk through this door, we would like to see, very specifically, what crash landed in Roswell, New Mexico on July 8th, 1947. Reach out, grab the door handle or knob, open the door, step through, and when you step through the door, you will be in Roswell, 1947. Our 3 minutes are up. Bring yourself back to yourself. Move your body around. Feel yourself in your seat. When you're ready, open your eyes. Take some time to make some notes if you would like about what you experienced. All right. I am finished with my notes.
Okay. All right, let's get started. Hoaxsters has something in there. Let's see. Hoaxster says, first I saw something crash in the ground. Then I saw a picture of a nose-shaped UFO with light along it. After the thing crashed, I went inside. It was empty. With whatever they left, instant and didn't want to be seen. Interesting part, I hear heartbeat noises for about a minute and an alien gray face pops up and looks up at me at the end.
Wow. It's kind of creepy. A little bit scary. Keisha said, I skipped the door. I was a man in a car driving through the area when the car just stalled and stopped on the road. I heard a pop. I got out of the car and there was the craft, but it was holographic, like it was blinking in and out of existence. And I knew it crashed and ran to it. And there looked like a child on the ground, and he looked similar to a gray, but not like they depicted. He was just childlike. He was gone. I saw another one and I lifted him and he died too. Wow. Very interesting.
What did you see, Medium Julie?
Oh, well, it's very interesting because, yeah, well, you'll see. Okay, so Mine was kind of skipping all over the place. I was seeing different things at different times and different stuff. But at first, I saw a man in his house. It was night. He jumps up because he hears it. And he can see, I guess he can see out the window or something, or I don't know. But he's like scared, and he's grabs a shotgun. He had on a hat and like jeans and like a button-up shirt, and he's like kind of thin, and he's older, and like he goes out the door with he grabs a shotgun and he goes out the door, and I can hear the screen door slam behind him, and I can hear his feet crunching on the ground like there's gravel or like hard packed dirt, and he's like going towards this smoke and fire that's off in the distance, like kind of far away. And he's completely freaked out, like, oh my God, what is that? What is that? Like, he's like freaking out. And then I go to the crash site, and I'm witnessing it from the alien perspective. And and I see what looks like a gray alien, very small, right? And it's dead. But I'm witnessing it as the other one who's very injured. He's really scared. He's in a lot of pain, and he's going in and out of consciousness. And he's panicking. And then I see, like, it must be the next day or something, but I see the military come in, and there's like, I see like the green military, like army tents getting put up. And I also saw the debris all over the ground, and like someone picking up like it was the same guy that was in the house picks up the metal, and he's like looking at it, like trying to figure out what the hell it is. And then I see everything from the alien perspective again, and they have him on a gurney, and they're rolling him into one of these tents, and he's like in and out of consciousness. And then I see, like, I'm the alien, and I see two men standing off a ways on to my right, but like towards my feet, And I hear one of them say, "What the hell is it?" And that was it.
Interesting. I think it's interesting that you and Keisha both picked up on
two critters.
And men at the scene. Men
at the scene, and two gray alien type of things. Yes.
Very interesting. Very interesting. That was another thing I'll get to when I talk about mine, but what it looks like and what it would have sounded like, because I haven't been there, So that's interesting. Terra Mama says, wooden castle door with loop handle that I pushed open. Everyone was running toward a fire. Military was everywhere, and I was dressed in uniform. I saw two very small, childlike skeletal remains.
Two, yes.
People all around discussing what we should do. Began throwing dirt on it to try to put the fire out and to bury it, control the scene. And people were discussing what they should say had crashed.
Wow. He should also said something previous before that too.
Yes.
The craft was paper thin material like fabric. It made no sense. How could it have been enough to be sturdy? It was wild. And I was a farmer, and he was confused. And the man in the car was in a photo, and I can see him. He was leaning over a table behind someone. Weird. Do you want to read CMC's?
Yeah, so CMC Airboss says the craft was triangular, about 40 feet in the longest dimension. It was puffed out about 12 to 15 feet tall and silvery gray. It was night. I sensed the notion of failure inside the craft like a red alert. Trench came to mind, and it was the first time the operators experienced violent deceleration. The crew was frightened because their orders were not to be noticed or seen before the crash. No, one body was halfway out of the craft after the crash.
Yes, that's what I saw too. It was like leaning over, like it had been almost ejected out of it. I saw the same thing, Sam. Mine was at night too, Terra Mama.
Very clear skies.
Yes. Priestess said, I was at a gas station. It had a metal door with glass windows and a bell rang. And when I opened and closed it, I didn't see much, but I got the feeling that our military shot the craft down, or maybe there were civilians that had tried to shoot at it. So it's funny that I saw a guy with a shotgun. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that Jenny did. Yeah.
Yeah. Green alien things. Yeah.
Gray.
Oh,
Yeah.
gray.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, he said green. Green alien things for the face. Oh, gray, not green. Oh, I see. He was correcting, yes. Keisha felt failure and something about magnetics. Wow. What was yours, Frosty?
So, before, so, you know, you kind of have images that go through your head, or at least I do, before we started doing the process. And I just assumed, I guess because of the deserts I know, I was thinking of a very orangey kind of landscape. And so that was kind of preconditioned in my mind before we went. But as soon as I started seeing what I was seeing, everything got really light colored, like beige and white. So the landscape was very kind of more white than I expected it to be. And I saw a man. And the man had a fedora hat on. And he had a tweed suit and tie, like a black tie. It wasn't like a man in black, though. It was like the tweed suit was like multicolored, like brownish and grays and stuff. And I got like a close up of his face, like from the side. And it seemed like he was out there by himself. And he was very confused. And he kind of had like panic in his eyes, confusion, like he didn't know what in the heck was going on. And he was just kind of looking side to side, like frantically trying to figure out what was happening. I sensed that there was like wreckage all around, but I couldn't really see it. But then I saw the bottom half of 2 bodies.
Everybody got 2.
Yeah.
So weird.
But they weren't in the craft, but then I never saw the craft either.
Yeah.
But I did get a sense that it hit like a ridge. Like when it crash landed, there was like a part that went up above the rest of it. And it kind of slammed. Once it had crashed, it kind of slammed into that. So anyway, that's what I got.
CMC said Roswell landscape is like rolling hills with very light sand-colored earth and a lot of scrub brush. I felt like I could see the scrub brush in the darkness as I was like running with the man with the shotgun.
And
yeah,
once we were done, when I was taking my notes, I Googled the Roswell landscape, and it definitely made sense. Yeah.
Wow. Amazing. I think it's weird that everybody that saw the aliens saw too.
And it's interesting that you mentioned the rolling hills, CMC, because the guy that I saw had like worked his way up like a small hill, maybe like a 4 or 5 foot hill, like kind of climbed up it a little bit. It wouldn't have been big. It'd just take 2 or 3 steps to get up to the top. But he was like standing on that and like looking around, and he was sweating. It was very hot, which New Mexico, I imagine, in July. So that makes sense. He was sweating, and he was just kind of, yeah, that's very interesting.
It's weird because I felt like your guy was Keisha's guy getting out of the car.
Yeah. Yeah. When we read that one, I thought,
I was like, that's Keisha's guy getting out of the car to go see what happened. Yeah. Weird. So weird.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Keisha.
Dressed. Yeah.
Yeah, he was wearing a fedora. He had like a tweed suit on.
Driving
like very
through
1950s middle class, you know, kind of what you picture there. Had glasses, like thick rimmed glasses.
Yeah, it should be cool at night in the desert. But, you know, panic and fear makes people sweat too.
Well, mine was during the day.
Yours was during the day.
Mm-hmm.
Weird. Craziness.
Very interesting.
Crazy.
Well, I know we wanted to do some of these. It is
a weird podcast for a reason.
We're pushing going on 10:30 at this point, so
yeah,
I think we probably could stop with that one, but we can always do it again.
I can't spell either, Mom. It's okay.
Especially in Twitch chat, it's almost embarrassing how much I misspell
trying to do it
stuff.
fast,
Because like when I take my time to write stuff, I feel like the conversation's already left me behind, and then I'll just erase what I was going to say. So I want to be like present in the conversation. So then I type fast, and then I sometimes type things I didn't really mean to type.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. We understand.
Wow,
So,
that was really fun. We'll definitely have to do another one of these because everybody had really great suggestions about what to go see. Like I was very interested in the French Revolution and also the like looking really far ahead in the future. I think would be cool.
I was expecting to see some more ancient stuff up there.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that didn't show up.
We had talked about our cities before and some of the classes we had talked about. I was wondering if maybe someone would want to look at that, Egypt. But we can do this again. We can do this on another Witching Hours. We can do this whenever. So yeah, I had fun. Thank you for participating, everyone, and for people who will participate in the future.
Don't forget to share your experience in the YouTube chat. We want to know what everybody experienced, whether it's right now or later.
Yeah. You guys are what make this possible. Without you guys being here, it would just be me and Jenny talking to each other, which we do all the time.
We do anyway. So yeah.
So you guys make it fun and exciting for us to be able to do this stuff. So thank you, all of you wonderful people for participating and making this something fun to do on a Thursday night.
Yeah.
Good night, and we'll see you all next time.
Bye.